Hello, everyone. Welcome to FinanceOlogy 101. Class is now in session. The information provided during this podcast is just that, information. You will need to do further research to address your specific situation. Enjoy the session. Welcome, everyone, to another session of Gifted Generation Presents FinanceOlogy 101. I'm one of your hosts, Robin, and your other host is my wonderful husband, Elroy.
Hello. How you doing? This is Elroy. How you doing?
Hello, Elroy. so, so this session, I thought it would be fitting since it's the beginning of the year to talk about saving for upcoming events.
Ooh, yes.
So I thought we could start the year off fresh by
Yes,
getting thought about what things you want to do or you need to buy and
yes,
start planning and strategizing and planning for those items throughout the year.
yes.
And I just heard on the news, it's so fitting that today is National Vacation Planning Day.
What
They
is it?
make a day for everything. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. So
that's funny.
this is fitting that we're talking about that, about planning for events for the this year. So it could be vacation, it could be a new car, it could be a
Right,
washer dryer, it
right,
could be a graduation,
right,
whatever events that you have coming up
right,
that you need to do or want to do.
right,
This is the time to start strategizing to save, so
right,
when that event comes up, you're not panicking and swiping that credit card like crazy and you don't
right,
have the money to do it, but you do it anyway.
right.
So let's start there.
Well, one thing you got to think about, there's like 5 tips, that you need to do each year when you want to
Hmm.
save money. One of the first things you want to do is you want to be very specific on how much money you want to save. You want to say, hey, this year I want to save $5,000. And that $5,000 could be the most you can save in the course of a year. And then from that $5,000, figure out how you want to divvy that up into certain pots you want to put it in. So if you can maximize $5,000 for the course of a year, you can say, other $5,000, I want to save 1,000 for emergency. I want to put something for savings, something for vacation, something for Christmas, because you're not going to exceed that 5 grand. And then you start putting money into those separate accounts each month. I would also encourage people to make sure they keep those accounts not cash in hand. Cash in hand, I mean, you may have access to it and spend it. Do it in a bank account that allows you to have multiple accounts, savings accounts, because that way you can just transfer it over, rename that account, and it's done. So you want to be intentional about your savings, extremely intentional. The other thing is, answer the big question of how you are going to save that money. What's going to be your approach towards it? Are you going to, from each paycheck, save a certain amount? Or do it monthly? You may have to cut back on a few things. Well, like my wife and I, we like movie night. So when we go to a movie, we spend a certain amount. If we don't go, guess what, y'all? I take that money now, I put it into my savings for something because we missed that event. I'm like, whoo, I got 25 extra dollars. No, I take that money, put it into my savings for something else. Not that I carry it over for the next time. That's just what I do because I still have money allocated for our next Friday night. So we can go big if we want to. We can go watch a movie and get 2 big bags of popcorn.
Get all fancy.
Yeah, you go. Yeah, you go. And also, you want to set those mini monthly goals to make sure you have a check in with your husband or wife, or if you're single, your accountability partner. Just have those goals throughout the course of the month where you can check in to make sure you're on pace. One thing you don't want to do is set a goal so large you feel defeated as you are
Hmm.
marching towards that goal. So if six
Hmm.
thousand dollars is too aggressive, then you gotta say, hey, let me back that off to maybe $2,400 this year, which is what, $200 a month. So you got to be realistic in your goals that you're setting. If you do it so aggressive, when you meet that goal the next year, you're like, I ain't doing that again. That was too tough. And then you're going to
Right,
fall back to your old habits,
right.
right? And like I said, you want to make sure you figure out where to put those funds, somewhere that you can't touch and grab and go with it. And then last but not least, you want to stay strong and track your progress. You want to just, if you're doing it online, I was telling somebody this Sunday, if you automate it, so when you get paid and you have those separate savings account in that one bank, you can have it, you get paid that Friday, and that Saturday, you have it automated so that it puts that money into those separate accounts every single Saturday. And now you have your leftover funds as far as paying for your bills and stuff like that. Those are some of the things that I would say are great advantages in order to start saving towards those things you want to build throughout the course of the year.
And to piggyback on that, I'm co-signing that because you want to and sit down and give thought to the things that you know are upcoming.
Right.
And like you may need a new washing machine or
That's
washing
ready.
dryer.
Mm-hmm.
You want to, it's about that time to get a new one because the old one is starting to act up. You
Yep.
want to sit down and write it down. Write down all the things that you see that you
Yep.
need, you want, and
Right.
categorize it. And then, like Elroy said, come up with a strategy, a plan
Right.
to achieve those goals. And he is so right. Do not make the goal so big that you're going to fail, and then you're
Right.
going to give up,
Right.
and then you're going to use the credit card. So it's so important to be intentional. He said be intentional about your saving and about your purchases. One thing I do not like to do is wait till I need something,
Right.
because when you go to the store and
Mm-hmm.
they can sense desperation now.
Right.
You're going to spend way more than you want to. Like our son was going off to college, and I started looking for the dorm room refrigerators, and I went to a famous store, and they had a sale on. Well, the ad said they had a sale on dorm room refrigerators. So when I go in there, guess what? The ones that they had on sale, all of a sudden they don't have any. They don't have any more. So instead of the guy
Hokey doke.
show, showing me all that he had, he goes take me straight to the refrigerators that was extremely expensive. Why? Because he was getting a commission. And once I sensed that, I walked out of that store, and I never went back into that store because it was all about lining his pockets and not looking out for the customer. Now,
Yeah. Be wise.
and if I was desperate and I needed that refrigerator because my son was going off to school in a couple of days, guess what? I'd have
You
bought the
brought it.
most expensive one.
Yep. And and
So
and,
if
and
you
now,
start,
go ahead. I'm
go
sorry.
ahead.
No, you go
Well, if
ahead.
you start early looking
Mm-hmm.
for things way before you need them,
Mm-hmm.
then that's less pressure on you, less
Yep.
pressure, and you have more time, and you can make rational thoughts.
Yeah. All seasonal buying type things. You buy
Yeah.
winter clothes in the summer and summer clothes in the winter. you
Mm-hmm.
know,
Right. Right.
and try to
Right.
maintain that weight so you can fit it when it's time to wear it or
It's
sell
just
it.
it just making sure you're not under pressure to buy
Right.
something,
Right.
because when you go in with that pressure on you, you're going to buy something way out of your price range.
Right.
So that's why we're saying plan it out. Start
Right.
strategizing.
Right.
Don't wait till the washing machine breaks down. You know it's getting old.
Right.
Start pricing them.
Right.
Start pricing and see what's out there, what you want in the machine, what you don't need,
Yep.
and then price it from there. And then you can go buy it for cash because you saved up the money and you already know what's out there.
Right.
It's just
And
being, like he said, being intentional about your purchases.
and you got to be wise. And a lot of people think this is for people who are older. These methods are for your kids while they're in high school. Because if you
Hmm.
set that foundation for your kids to start thinking that way, guess what? When they off in college, they will still have those exact same ways. Otherwise, buying them all these high-end things or buying them so much, not teaching them the fundamentals of savings and the principles behind those things, you're going to skew those things as far as when they get older because they're going to have that exact same mindset. So one thing we always try to do, my wife and I, is try to teach our boys, wise spending. Be careful. Is this a want or a need?
Right.
And we say put them into the category. Now, if it's a want, like, okay, are all your needs met? Well, let's see how much we can afford to pay for on this here want. And if it's affordable, what's my return on it if I no longer want it anymore, or if it's going to be destroyed? So we always try to talk our way through things before we go out and make purchases and stuff. Another thing you want to be careful about is they say, be careful about how much you spend when you do certain things like vacation. But if you set a certain amount for your vacation, don't say, "Oh, I only have 1,000 for vacation," and then you end up spending 1,000 and then 2,000 on your credit card. Now that vacation has become $3,000 plus interest. Stick to that budget. Don't try to be like stay with the Joneses. Stay with your means, what you can afford, and don't overdo it. One thing I always try to tell people, I always love asking this question: do you think you can take a nice vacation for $500? And most people say no. I'll be like, wrong. There are so many drive-to vacations that you can enjoy, but you can save towards those things. Is that they're not out of reach. So the biggest thing is like learning how to save for the things you need and the things you want. The unexpected and the expected. What's unexpected? Emergencies, flat tire. I just had to go get my truck fixed, and I had money in the emergency fund. And I said, "Hey, what's wrong with my truck?" He said, "Hey, you got a few more things." They calling me. I'm like, "What's wrong with my truck now besides battery?" They're like, "Well, you need this here." "Well, you don't need this, sir. This is good to get this." I said, "Okay." And I knew those things, it was about time for those things to be going. I need to be replaced. I said, "Well, how much is it going to cost me?" He says, "Well, for the battery, this and this and that, about 700." And I said, "All right, do it all." He said, "Excuse me?" I said, "Do it all. You want me to keep your truck to do all this?" I said, "You told me this is going to be the price, and you told me you can do it. Do it all." "Okay, well, we ain't got the parts." "Well, okay, keep my truck till you can get the parts." Uh, "Oh, keep your truck, sir?" Like, "Yeah, just keep the truck until you can get the parts." Why? Because my wife and I prepared for those type of things. If you unprepared, those things won't get fixed. Now, the part that's going to be, it can wait till later. It's going to become an emergency when it breaks later. Now you won't have a truck for
Mm-hmm.
much longer. But if you can
Mm-hmm.
plan for those things in advance, you avoid those long-term setbacks. So
And
now
a
only
lot
thing
of
I do is put money back into my emergency fund to replace what I just purchased or got fixed on the truck.
And a lot of the times when you don't take care of the situation when
Oh
it
yeah,
comes
yeah,
up,
yeah,
that breaks, plus it costs something else to break
yeah,
because and then it's a domino effect. And now instead of fixing one thing, that one thing broke two or three other
yeah,
things,
yeah,
and now you got all of that to fix.
yeah,
So if you have that emergency fund,
yeah,
you can get it fixed right away so it doesn't cause problems down the road.
yeah,
It's just being intentional, knowing the difference between want and needs, knowing how to sit down and come up with a plan. Write it down so it's
right,
in your face. Don't
right,
try to figure it out and it's in your head. No,
right,
write it down so it's a piece of paper that you got to look at every day to
right,
stay on track.
right,
It's intentional, and you will be amazed at how much you can accomplish,
yep,
how much you can get done,
right,
how much fun you can have.
yep,
There's things that you want that you can now get because you planned and stressed and you made the
yep,
sacrifices to
yep.
get it.
I'll give y'all two rules. One is what they call the 30-day rule. And this is something that I typically do too. What is the 30-day rule? It says, with the 30-day savings rule, this is what it means by the savings rule. If you defer all your essential purchases and impulse buying for 30 days, what does that mean? Instead of spending your money on something you might not need, you're going to take like 30 days to think about it. At the end of those 30 days, if you still want to make that purchase, feel free to go and get it based on, hey, I had that money for it And yes, I want to go and get it. But if you don't have the money for it, don't do it. This is one of those things like saying, I got $1,000 that I saved up for shopping, and you're like, you know what? And you say, what? I'm going to spend $800 on these pair of shoes. Like, oh, that's a lot. So I ain't got about $200 left for my shopping spree. Wait a few days and see if you really need that thing. More than likely, it's going to pass you by. Now, one thing I always tell my wife, especially when we go out of town, we're going shopping, I like we have money to do these kind of things. I say, if you see something that you want, you might want to go ahead and get it because we ain't going to be driving back to Miami to come and get it. Type thing. So because we have prepared for those trips. So you want to make sure you prepare for those things that when you're out of the situation, you can go ahead and get them. So if it's like local buying, sell your soul a little bit. The other one is, let me see, I think it was called a 50, 30, 20 budget rule. And what that is like, you want to save 50% of your money for essentials, 20 for savings, and 30% for everything else. We want to kind of like saying, here's what I'm going to do with my money. Once again, being intentional. Because you gotta pay your bills. What you got left over? You paying stuff on time or you paying it late? That's cutting into your budget if you're paying things late. So you want to make sure you do things on time. Have a purpose. And as we're saying, the key word tonight is what? Being intentional.
Being intentional. Like the last couple of days, I have been contemplating going back and forth about a jacket that I wanted. Now I kept like, I don't know if I want. I know I want it, but I don't know if I
Right.
actually need it. And
Right.
then I
Right.
just started thinking, and lo and behold, I have a jacket. It's a different type of jacket, but it's the same color. And
Okay.
it's like, so why? And I'm not even wearing the one that I have because of COVID. We hardly going anywhere. So I'm
Yep.
like, why would I go and spend the money on another jacket, same color,
Mm-hmm.
when I have one and I ain't even wearing it?
Yep. Yeah.
So I was like, well, I'm not going to buy the jacket, even though, and so that told me right there, I already knew it was a want and not a need.
Yep. Yep.
And so I just gave up and said I'm not going, because I mean I was going back for days,
Mm-hmm.
back and forth. And once I realized I had the other jacket, I was like, I'm not going to buy another jacket because I'm not even wearing that one now.
Right.
So
Right. Right.
what's the point of me buying another jacket to sit in the closet just like
Right.
the other one is?
Right.
So you have to,
Planning. Planning.
yeah, planning, and not, try not to do that impulse buying.
Yeah.
Try not to do that impulse buying
Yeah. No, that's very
because
important. Very
that
important.
that that's where it gets you. I have a friend that goes to the store and go in there to get, say, a loaf of bread, and by the time she comes out, she done spent $200, and a lot of it is a bunch of nonsense and junk, and she wondering where her money is. You just spent $200 on a bunch of junk that you didn't need.
Yeah.
And when I say junk, I'm talking about food junk.
Yeah.
You didn't need. You just, because you were in the store, you
And,
got the bread, and then you just picked up a whole bunch of nonsense.
And that comes from not having a list when you go shopping. And it also
Mm-hmm.
comes from having a card versus cash. Because if
Mm-hmm.
she has $100 to go shopping with, when she gets to that cart and she's like, "Whoa, I'm at 250," she will end up putting some stuff back or not putting in the
Mm-hmm.
cart the very first time. So a lot of
Mm-hmm.
times, if you have cash on hand, it helps control your spending. You have allocated
Yep.
that amount. How many times have we set a budget? Let's say shopping, or we want to do certain things, and we say I'm gonna put $50 on this right here, but then we go and do it. We swipe it and say, "Oh, it's only $5." Well, you just bust your budget. But if you have those same $50 with cash in your hand, there's no way you can go over because you only have the cash, which to
Yep.
include taxes. But we typically
Mm-hmm.
go over when we swipe, swipe, swipe.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I just take it from somewhere else. Doing a rob Peter to pay Paul mentality. And before you know it, you're like, why am I like $40 short on this bill? Well, you just nickel and dime yourself out of paying that bill on time.
Yep.
You forgot about being intentional on your spending and your budgeting. You know, um, like I was telling somebody the other day, it was like, hey, I got this spreadsheet, everything looking good, right? And I was saying, well, spreadsheets are nice, but if you don't get involved in being intentional about how you are carrying out the duties of the spreadsheet, is just a spreadsheet. It only becomes live when you actually look at it and you say, okay, this month I have X, Y, and Z. Boom. I was telling him, I was like, hey, I've taken our gas money. I was spending $200 for gas every 2 weeks to go back and forth to work. Now that's only like $25. Just, because the truck is sitting here and it's just a roundabout working, going from here to there, gym, other stores and stuff like that. So that's $75 every 2 weeks. I'm saying $150 a month. That $150 a month over the last 2 years, that's a pretty significant amount. I can take that money and now allocate it to something different that I couldn't fund before, but I can fund now. You got to think about those things. Where can you cut back? What has gone up in the last 2 years, baby, that you go do every 2 weeks? What market did you go make? What has gone up in the last few months?
Everything, I can
Food.
still see, yes, food, and I can see the bottom of the cart, because it ain't meaning it's not full. And the lady tell me it's $200, and I'm like, what did I buy?
Yeah.
I can still see the bottom of the cart,
Yep.
meaning I didn't have much in my cart, and it's $200. It's like, oh my
Gotta
goodness,
gotta make changes.
everything, and
Gotta
food
make
is not
changes.
going down. So
Yep.
everything in the grocery store is going
Yep.
up, and we have to adjust with that. So that means if it's imperative that we slow down
Yep.
and
Yep.
think about what we're doing, because a
Yep.
lot of us think I got to get a part-time job, I got to get this job, I got to get that
Huh.
job. No, if you sit down and see how you can manage your money, you'll
Yep.
see that
Yep. Yep.
you can come up with ways to save and still enjoy life
Yep.
on that one job.
Yep.
You have to take the time to do that. You have to
Yep.
come up with the strategy. You COVID, we sitting in the house for the most part, and now that it's winter, we definitely sitting in the house.
Right.
Sit down and devise your plan for 2022.
And teach your
Maybe
kids.
in 2023,
Yep.
if you have to, and come up with a plan that you can put into motion.
Yep.
And once you get that plan going, I'm telling you, you get hooked because
Yep.
you like to see that money growing. Once you get hooked, you're gonna be looking at other ways. How else can I cut
Yep.
back on A,
Yep.
B, and C so I
Yep.
can put this money here, or put this money there, or
Yep.
do this or do that?
Yep.
It's just intentional. This whole program is about being intentional about your money because we do a lot of mindless spending, a lot of mindless shopping,
Yep.
and especially with
Yep.
COVID, buying clothes. I know at some point we're gonna get back out the house, but buying clothes and it's sitting in the closet because you ain't going nowhere.
Yep. Yeah. And like I said, you want to make sure you're teaching family members. I've been talking to
Yes.
my nephews and nieces, teaching your family, your boys and your girls, and so in some cases, the kids can teach the parents because the parents never had an idea on how to save. So it's not always not about the parents teaching the kids. A lot of kids are being more savvy, and
Mm-hmm.
they're teaching the mom and the dads and the other folks of what they should and should not be doing. So don't get it twisted. It ain't always about the older people giving back. Sometimes it's about the younger people paying it to us, giving it to us, because they want to be able to have things for themselves. Mom and dad ain't saving nothing for me. I got to pay for college. I got to do X, Y, and Z. So they're learning ways to go out and save for themselves, investing in themselves now, learning all these classes that are being taught and offered for free. And even
Mm-hmm.
if you can't start saving, $5 is a lot. You can do a whole lot. At least you start learning the mindset. So when the
Right.
time comes, you're ready. You can't start saving without tooling yourself to save. You can't say, "Well, I don't want to save because I ain't making the money." And then all of a sudden you come into some cash money. Now I need to learn how to save. But guess what? You should have been learning that all along. So when you get to that point,
Mm-hmm.
you can maximize every single penny. You don't want to wait to that
Mm-hmm.
point when you get time to you get the money to save it. You want to learn. You want to learn. And as you're learning, you're absorbing and you're sharing. I may not be able to save it, but I'm sure learning how when the time comes, you're skilling yourself to be ready for that moment. And when it does happen, as you get increases in pay, your taxes, so many people take their taxes and just blow the
Mm-hmm.
whole thing.
That could
Why?
jumpstart your savings right
Why?
there.
Yes. I mean, how many people did something with the child tax credit they was getting for every child over the last, I don't know how many months? Did you blow that, or did you save that for every child to build your nest egg? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
those things you're getting, that's gonna jumpstart your huge savings, independency on future living.
Mm-hmm.
Emergency fund, you got to get that. They say $1,000, 3 to 6 months of your bills towards and anything that happen in case you may not have a job, and then you start building those other things around you. Well,
A lot of people
you got to
don't
do it.
take advantage, yeah, of the opportunities
No,
before them.
no, no.
They see it as something else when it's
Yeah,
really an opportunity
yeah,
to go to the next level in your
yeah,
finances, in your
yeah,
life.
yeah,
And we take that money and we just blow it.
yeah.
And I ain't saying that we did it all right all the time.
Oh
Cause
no.
shoot, we back in the day, that tax money came, we had a good
Whoop,
time.
whoop, whoop,
I
whoop.
mean, so I ain't saying that we all high and
Mm,
mighty and we did it right all the time because we
yep.
sure did not. But we learned
Mm-hmm.
from as time went on, as we became more seasoned, we learned that dang, we blew all that money.
Mm-hmm.
So now we're like, no, I'm not. I hate to give my money away, and what I mean by that, that bill is coming and I don't want that bill because I ain't trying to give all these different stores and credit cards all my daggone money.
Yep.
I,
Yep.
I, I, you working hard for it and then you giving it away
Yep. Yep.
for
And
things that you really don't need. It's
yep.
a want,
How
but it's
how
not a
how you gonna
need.
build a legacy for your kids if you're not doing something for yourself right now? What
Right.
you, what, what you gonna turn over to them, to your kids? What are you gonna leave behind for them? The dirt on the ground, or a nice legacy so that they don't have the same struggles as our parents had? My thing
And
is
it,
like
it
you want to do better for each generation, so each generation can leave something behind.
right. And that legacy, he's not really saying leaving them money behind. You
Right.
can leave them knowledge.
Yep. Yep.
That legacy of knowledge to
Yep.
start saving and investing and
Mm-hmm.
and planting, sowing their seeds
Yep.
for future growth and stuff. So don't
Yep.
always think leaving a legacy means leaving money. It
Right.
is leaving knowledge, leaving
Yeah.
that knowledge to your child. Y'all learn together how
Yeah.
to save and invest and plan things out and not all this mindless spending.
Right.
I mean, we all get caught up in it. We all like stuff. We all like and want stuff.
Yep.
I'm no different, but it, it's a time and a place for that stuff. And I learned
Right.
that. I
Right.
learned that I really don't need it. I want
Right.
it, but I really don't need it.
Yep. Let me help
So,
the men out there, um, and I want every guy to understand, if you are not the person to understand how to budget money, and if it's your wife, don't be so caught up. I'm the man, so I got to make sure things are right. If she's the better person that can manage the money, allow that person to manage the money. It can be a man or a woman. It does not matter. So for us guys, sometimes we get so caught up. Well, I'm either you're breadwinner or not. I need to make sure that this is taken care of. Then you go out and you blow everything. You don't when did this wrong, did that wrong. So if she's better with paying the bills on time, let her pay the bills on time. If you're not good on making sure those things get done, let that person who can pay bills on time track that thing. Let that person do that, because you're one household, one source of income. But make sure that person who's trying to save that money for a vacation, you talk about those things, and you're both providing to that pool. It ain't gotta be the man. It ain't gotta be the woman. It gotta be somebody, right? It can be either or. I know a lot of times we men get caught up in, well, hey, look, I need to make sure, I take care of this here. Pay bills on time. Well, I'm late every now and then. Or maybe your wife should do it. Nah, nah. I need to know where my money going. Well, you know what it's going. Your wife pay for the bill. So I want to make sure I encourage guys to. It's okay to make sure that to allow someone else to do it if they're better at it. If you both were bad, you're in trouble.
Yes, you in big trouble
You're in trouble.
because Elroy, even though I know how to do it and push come to shove, I can do it, but Elroy has a different mindset, so he does it and he knows how to. He just that's his gift. He just operates in his gift, and I believe me, it was a huge weight off my shoulders when he took it over because it was stressful. Because the way I was doing it, we always was struggling. But the minute he took it over, I'm telling you, in 6 months, and this is no lie, 6 months, we saved $12,000. I'm like, what in the world? What was I doing? So we had all that money, but because the way I was doing it and I did not see it, he's just creative when it comes to looking at those things. That I'm not lying, $12,000 in 6 months, and I'm like, how is it that I was struggling to keep us afloat, and we had all of this money? It all became because he saw it differently. He came with a plan and a strategy. I ain't have a plan. I ain't have a strategy. He sat down and came devised a plan and a strategy, and it worked. And when it caught on, I was like, "Oh my goodness!" I started cutting. Don't cut this off. Turn this off. Put that money away. I was loving having that
Unplug that
money.
TV, boy. That's the electric bill. Turn that
I
flat
was.
off.
I
5 minute
got off.
showers. Too much water.
I got caught up. I was like, "Oh shoot, we can say that kind of money." I started like, "Nope,
Ah.
don't want that, don't need that, don't need that." I started shutting it all down. But it like he said, it wasn't. That's not my gift. Even though I know I can pay bills and I can keep things going, he has a different way of seeing it. He has a different way of putting a plan in place that I just don't have. I don't have that. He does. So he
Oh,
takes
thank you.
care of it. And I tell you, this boy, even to the point that his sons know, I can always ask dad because dad always got it. He always make a way. He always has it. That's because that's how he thinks. That's just not my gift. So he does it, and I'm happy to let him do it. And I thank God the day I gave it over to him. I mean, I tell you, it was a huge weight off my shoulder because it was stressful because it wasn't my gift. So, like he said, if it's your wife's gift to run things like that, let her,
Yep.
because that'll be a weight off of your shoulders,
Yep.
and you know things are being done and taken care of properly.
Yep.
Instead
Yep.
of letting your male ego get in the way, let your
Yep.
wife do it, or let
Yep.
your partner, whatever your partner, whomever that may be,
Yep.
do it if they the one that has that creative thinking to
Yep.
handle money like that.
And let me tell you, man, something. Hair, nails, lunch with the girlfriends. That's part of the budget. Those miscellaneous things they got to get from the store. That's part of the budget. You cannot exclude that. That's essential to every. When you're courting a woman or you're married, when you're ready, when you're making that budget, that line item needs to say wife X, Y, and Z. Put it down. Make sure she gets it. Because without it, guess what's gonna happen? Honey, I need to get my hair done. Oh, honey, I need this for. Honey, I need to get my nails done. Oh, honey, I need to get this from the store. But if your wife already has that money, guess what? She ain't gotta come to you for it because it's already budgeted for. Here's your amount. Do what you want to with it, and you continue to give it to her every paycheck. It's a done deal. Now, I ain't
Yeah,
saying go out and give a whole lot or give a little bit. It has to be within the confines of the budget that you guys can survive.
right, right,
So it
right.
may be like, honey, well, you may have to get your hair done every other time, or your nails may have to last a little bit longer than did before because we have these things, that pops up every week, or every 2 weeks from the bills in the month. That's what you call working together. When she sees those things in front of her, she says, "Oh, okay, well, can't have the light turned off, so I get my nails done the next time." You know what I'm saying? But you're working out a plan to keep her happy, and guess what? Peace in the household. Peace in the house.
Yep,
Ooh,
peace and
peace.
awesome.
Yes, peace. 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 That's what I do for my wife. I'm like, here you go. They transfer all the money. I'm like, nah, I don't touch it. I don't ask about what you do with it. When she bring bags in the house, I don't even care. That's her money. Do what you want to. I don't even question it. Like, what you got there? Hey, well, that's nice. Oh, girl, I like that. That's just hers. But if you don't
Yeah.
do it,
So,
you're gonna start stressing. Oh, I gotta give her $50 for these freaking nails. That's part of the budget. And it's also part of saving your marriage. Believe
yes.
it or not.
So to sum this up, strategy,
Mm,
plan,
intentional.
communication,
Yes.
be intentional
Yes.
because it can be done. It
Yes.
can be done if
Preach,
you
girl.
are intentional about it.
Preach.
You sit down and, like today or tomorrow, say this weekend, you
Mm-hmm.
sit down and plan out the things you see or
Mm-hmm.
you envision for this year that going to cost you money, and maybe estimate how much each item is going to cost, and then see how you can come up with a plan
Right.
to save the money to do that.
Yeah.
An emergency fund and savings
Mm-hmm.
should be a part of that list of things you want to do. If you don't have an
Yep.
emergency fund, you need to have that on your list.
Yep. And
If
here's
you
my
don't
tip.
have anything saved, you need to have that on as one of your items on the
Talk
list
about
that you need to do.
start funding it until it's fully
Mhm.
funded. Here's my tip.
Mhm.
You can you can't afford not to do things. You need to be able to do those things because when you don't do those things, people say, "Well, I can't afford that." No, you can afford not to do it, which means you
Right.
need to do it because the minute you say you can't afford to do it, trust me, you can go out and buy your Starbucks coffee. You can
Mhm.
go out and buy this dress or these shoes. But guess what? That part you said you couldn't afford, you just sacrifice that to do something that you probably didn't need to do. I'm not saying you can't do those things. I'm just saying think about the big picture. Think about
Right.
the big
And,
picture.
and one thing Elroy always says, we still need to live.
Yep.
So be reasonable
Yep.
about how you're going to save. Don't
Yep.
cut everything off saying we ain't never going to the movies for the next
Yep.
year. We ain't doing this. We ain't eating out. No, you still have to live. You
Yep.
still have to have some enjoyment because if you
Yep.
don't, you're not going to like this process.
Yep.
So include in your planning how you can still go to the movies, go out to dinner,
Right.
buy some tennis shoes or
Yep.
buy a pair of shoes here
Yep.
and there, get your nails done here and there, your hair done here and there. The guys go play golf here and there.
Yep.
Put that all in your plan so
Yep.
you can still live and enjoy life at the
Yep.
same time. Have that plan for saving for things that's coming up.
Now here's something I did for my boys. Back in the day, the barbershop was $10. I think $15, whatever, $10 for a haircut. So I told my boy, I said, listen here. I said, if y'all want to make some money and help me save some money, I said, let me do your hair. I will cut your hair instead of paying the barber shop $10. I said, I would give you $5. And now that's the same money I was gonna pay to get your hair done. It's gonna be half of it, but now you got $5 in your pocket. And we did that for years. Then I started
Mm-hmm.
showing my boys how to cut their own hair. They cut their hair so great now, they ain't gotta go to the barber shop. They line it up in the front, the side of the ears, and the back. You would think a barber did their hair. So that is one way. I mean, I was teaching them a skill set, not even knowing it. I was just trying to save money, but they learned the skill set. Now my son gets in there and do his whole head.
Yep.
That's just the foundation of teaching them something of value. Taught them how
Yep.
to save, taught them how to cut their hair. They ain't do their own. If they want to go to the barber shop,
Yep.
they can. It's up to them, but they don't have
Yep.
to. And it looks
Yep.
good too. It looks good.
It sure does. He
Yeah.
does an excellent job. He does
Yeah.
an excellent job. They both do.
Yeah. All right, honey, you want to wrap it
So
up?
yeah, so I just hope and pray this blessed you guys, and I just pray that everyone just slow down and take
Yes.
this the beginning of this new year to
Yes.
really give thought about your finances
Yep.
and
Yep.
see how you can go to the next level. It's all about your being
Small
intentional
steps.
and planning and
Small
baby
steps.
steps.
Yep.
Don't make huge these big grandiose plans because I'm telling you, and most likely you're gonna fail
Yep.
and you're gonna give up.
Yep.
It's baby steps.
Yep.
Just do baby steps and watch it grow
Yep.
and change your mindset. So
Mm-hmm.
I pray that this blessed everyone and wish everyone a happy and prosperous and healthy new year. And Elroy, do you want to give them our social media information?
I guess I can. Let's see if here. Let me make sure I got this information in front of me. Why don't you give it, girl? Because let's pause for a second. Because guess what? I'm trying to make sure I say it right. Um,
I
well,
know our Instagram
yep. Go ahead.
Instagram is gift.gen.
Yep. Here
Our
we go. I got it.
webs
I got it. I got it. I want to make sure I give it right. Our
okay.
website is giftedgenerations-llc.com. We always say what, honey? Don't
Don't
forget
forget the
the dash.
dash.
Facebook is Gifted Gen LLC. Instagram is gift.gen. And on YouTube, you can do a search for Gifted Generations LLC and you'll be able to find it. So those are our things to look for. So our slogan, we always say same money, new level. You ain't gotta get more jobs. You just gotta use that money and spend it wisely. So,
Business wisely.
all right,
Okay.
honey.
Great session. Everyone
Thank
have
you.
a blessed evening and we'll see you next time. Take care.
All right, take care. Thank you, honey. Great
Alrighty.
session. Love you.
Great session. Well, thank you for tuning in to our podcast, FinanceOlogy 101. I hope you enjoyed this session and the information provided will assist you on your financial journey. Until next time, be financially engaged.